Here we are. We're live with a special surprise guest. I did not tell you guys who was coming on today, but I am so excited to introduce to you the founder and CEO of the Radical Success Institute and the Vice President of Operations for the Act Like a Success Steve Harvey Company, Doreen Rainey. She is a dynamic, seasoned, and no-nonsense personal business coach and speaker. She is so inspiring. She educates and she motivates others to provide her clients as a radical approach to move beyond the ordinary and expected into the extraordinary, with a calling to show people how to define success for themselves and get the guts to go after it. That's a huge one. She focuses on sharing practical, implementable strategies, tools, and processes to get you the results you want. As a lifelong learner, Doreen constantly engages in continuing education courses and programs to stay on top of the latest research, trends, and information on success. Welcome, Doreen, to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be with you today.
Yay, I'm so excited. What have you been up to this week?
Well, things have been busy. I have had a very busy last couple of weeks. I think I've been on 8 plane rides, maybe 4 or 5 cities, been out of the country, in the country, did a couple of retreats with Act Like a Success. And so now I'm just really trying to catch my breath.
Oh, yeah. I saw you were at the Janet Jackson concert.
Yes. You know, if you're going to work hard, you have to play hard. And so I took a little time out to hang out with my girlfriend in Chicago. And I was actually a virgin. I had not seen Janet Jackson before. So yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome.
My God. She I saw a clip. She was amazing. And she's in such good shape. How old is she? Do you know?
She's 51.
Oh my God. I'm like inspiration.
So, you know.
Wow. So that's pretty darn amazing. I mean, did you get to meet her?
I didn't. We had great seats and I had a fantastic time. And then I actually flew in that morning of the show, and then I had to fly out the next morning to go teach. So it was a quick turnaround.
Well, sounds fantastic. And I know you've had a lot of fantastic experiences. How did you become the Radical Success Coach? I love that name, by the way.
Yes. So actually, I started my coaching practice probably about maybe almost 9 years ago now. And during that time, as you begin to market and brand yourself, I started talking to my clients and asking them, what was it about working with me that really compelled you to move forward in action? And the word that kept coming up was radical, that I kept asking them to take radical steps, to think radical thoughts, and to see things from a very radical perspective from what they were used to. And so the name just stuck. And so I think it's a great description of the experience people have when they work with me.
Wow. So radical success. That basically requires you to make radical changes, right?
Requires you to make radical changes, but radical is relative. And so when people ask me, what does it mean to get radical? I always tell them that my definition is to define success for yourself and get the guts to go after it. Both of those components are important. And so being able to look at outside of your culture, celebrities, media, family, friends, to be able to look beyond that and ask yourself, what does success truly look like for me? What brings me joy? What gives me fulfillment? And once I can see what that is or define what that is, it may require you to make some changes to be able to experience that. And that's where the guts come in. Many people know what they want, but they allow barriers and challenges to keep them from getting there.
So I know there can be a lot of barriers and challenges, and sometimes I think people feel like others are holding them back. Now, is that true, or are we only standing in our own way? Is it a little bit true?
So I always tell people, whatever your barriers are, whether you believe that it's related to people, whether you believe it's related to a situation or a circumstance, whether you believe it's the economy, whether you believe, whatever you think is the source of these barriers, let's just assume that that's true. Let's just assume that it's true, that it is her or him or the economy or your boss or your cousin, or let's just assume that it's true. Now what? Now what? So if you feel like there are some things that are blocking you, holding you back, then it's time to make some new decisions. It's time to shift course. It's time to move in a new direction, and just stop continuing the conversation of this is holding me back. That gets you nowhere. So assuming that it's true, you have to ask yourself, now what will I do?
Well, yeah, because I know we can make a lot of excuses around why we can't do, be, or have what we want. And I think the secret, number one, is to want it bad enough that you clear those excuses, because you'll find that they are just excuses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
things that I love to work with clients on is, how do you overcome those excuses? And so I think it's head knowledge when we say, you got to move forward, you got to, overcome, you got to just do it anyway, all of our fun catchphrases that we like. But for many people, there is a real internal barrier that no matter how much they want to, they just can't. And one of the things that I love that Steve says all the time is, you don't get what you want, you get what you believe. And so I help people really tap into not just what they want, but what do they believe? Believe about themselves, believe about their goals, believe about their deserve level. And in doing that, then you open up the space to be able to move past the things that are holding you back.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It is totally what you believe about yourself. How do you change that belief if maybe you're believing you can't do that, or who are you to do that? How would somebody work on building their self-confidence and building belief in themselves if they don't have it now?
One of the things that I believe is powerful in the coaching that I do is that I teach people a radical method. So I've been teaching this for, I don't know, probably the last 7 years or so, where I take people through a 7-step process where they can deepen the learning about who they are so that they can move forward in action. It is a process. And so you first have to understand where you are, and then you have to understand why you are, and begin to ask yourself some tough questions about the things you believe about yourself, why you believe those things, and then begin to take very internal take an internal approach through exercises, mental exercises, to help shift what you believe about yourself from the inside out. And many people are either afraid of that work, they don't know how to do that work, or they start the work and it's just too hard.
Yeah. I mean, it is going to require some work, and like you said, it definitely requires guts. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you're scared to death to go after what you want. And it just leads me to the whole thing about what Steve says about jumping.
Yeah.
You have to jump.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically, I mean, take that risk. And I know you're a huge risk taker. And I know risk, we all feel afraid, but you have to feel the fear and move through the fear and do it anyway if you want to get to the other side of what, that fear, right?
Yes. Yes. And I like to tell people all the time, most days I am terrified. Most days, because I have such big goals, I want to have such a big impact, that it's never not scary. So that's the one thing I think people can really understand, is that fear will never go away. And I learned this from Rhonda Britton, and I've never forgotten it. And that is, fear is given to us like anger, joy, happiness, and it's designed to protect us. And so when we are in our comfort zone, fear is all good. We're all happy. But when we decide to step out of our comfort zone or to jump, then fear says, hold up, wait a minute. This is not what we do. We got to stop. And so you have to train fear that the new things that you are doing will soon become a part of your comfort zone, and the fear will begin to diminish. And so when people say, feel the fear and do it anyway, it's very cliche, but the truth is there's no other way to do it because the fear is not going anywhere.
Well, don't you find that once you do move through the fear, you find out I didn't die. Mm-hmm. I didn't, I'm still here. I'm still in one piece. And it makes you less afraid the next time you have something you're a little afraid of to do it.
Right. Well, I always tell people that, if you're taking a risk, there's no guarantee. So sometimes you take the jump and you move past the fear and you go, man, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And then there are times where you jump and you do it in spite of the fear and you go, okay, that was absolutely as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, oh my God, you still are on the other side. So you either have learned some things or you just built your confidence up or you accomplished something really great, or maybe it didn't work out quite the way you thought it was going to work out, but you stretched yourself. And that gives you the confidence to go out there and stretch yourself again. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like taking stuff and throwing it against the wall to see what sticks, right? I mean, it's it is a risk, yes. I mean, and I went to the Grand Canyon recently to take my son to LA in film school out there and spending one semester at Emerson. And I'm definitely afraid of heights. I mean, whoo-wee. I pushed myself, but oh my gosh, I pushed my family to go to the skywalk, and they're all out there on the skywalk hanging over the Grand Canyon. It's glass bottom, drop off. And oh my gosh, I'm like, I pushed them to go. I'm the mover and the shaker, the one that got us all there. They're all out there. I'm like, I can't move onto the glass. And I had to talk to myself because I'm always telling people to move through fear, but I was like deathly like afraid. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know. I asked the lady, do you have many earthquakes? And she's like, every day. I'm like, oh, great. Every day they have earthquakes here. Why do I want to leave this perfectly good ground behind? Mm. And then I was like, well, if they have an earthquake, mm-hmm. I'm going to go anyway. I might as well go doing something I want to do. So I made it out on the glass and pushed myself all the way to the other side and back. And then I got so brave. My husband was having to try to keep me back from the edge of the canyon.
Oh, wow.
So I got used to it. And then it was, I know this is probably a bizarre twist, but when I wanted to ask this question at the School of Greatness, the summit, my heart was beating out of my chest because I was in front of 1,000 people. And I was just like, but you know what? You made it through the canyon, and that's way more scary than this.
Right. Yeah, so remind yourself of the things that you've already overcome, the things that you've already accomplished, because then you can be, yeah, okay, I got this. If I could do that, I can do this. And you have to remind yourself of those things.
So my connection to that story is, well, I heard Tim Story speaking on the Act Like a Success community page, and he was talking about, is it a good idea or is it a God idea? And I was really intrigued by him, and I listened to a lot of his messages after that. And I mean, I would have never known that he was going to be in the audience at the Summit of Greatness listening to me talk. Mm-hmm. And do you know that my getting over that fear at the canyon is why I spoke, and it's why I met Tim Story. Yeah. And why he's going to be on my podcast.
Amazing. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, that one little leap of faith
Right.
could be your big,
Well, and what
big move.
happens is you build momentum. So success begets success. And we always want to think about things as a small win or a big win, but a win is a win. And the more you can step out, even if it's what we would call a small win,
Yeah.
it builds your confidence. It makes
Yeah,
you more
totally.
assertive. And you can keep that momentum going from the Grand Canyon to the stage to and then anything else you want to do. And so what I encourage people to do is not necessarily just get so overwhelmed by your big vision and your big goal and everything you want to accomplish. But what are some things that you can do today that take you one step closer? And if you continue to ask yourself that on a daily basis, those big, big visions and goals will soon become what you're actually living in your reality.
Well, that leads me to my next question. How did the opportunity present itself to you to work with Steve Harvey? That had to be, some small building steps to your big idea.
Well, I get that question all the time, and I love the story because it highlights what can happen when you're busy about your business. Whatever your business is, whether you're busy in your career, doing the right things, whether you're busy as an entrepreneur, and in that busyness, you're producing results. And inside of those results, you continue to connect and network with people that are like-minded, that are success-minded, where you can give service to them and they can be of service to you. And at the time, I had been coaching with and working with Lisa Nichols, and she had watched the business that I had built, and she knew that I was a person of integrity. She knew that I understood the business from the front end, the back end. And so when Steve was looking to start this new division, when his book came out, Act Like a Success, Think Like a Success, he was talking with her about what this platform could look like. And as she was sharing ideas and tips with him, she did say, you need someone to run this who understands this industry, who understands this market. And she recommended me. And, because of who she is in the industry, when she recommended me, he was like, sounds like a good plan to me. Let's go.
I love that. That's great.
Working together ever since. And it's been a great experience, a great adventure. We have a fabulous community. And he continues to be committed to inspiring, motivating, and equipping people to, discover their gift and go out there and live a life of joy and fulfillment.
Yeah, that's what I love about him. I went with my husband on his birthday, which is the same as Steve's. I didn't know that until we were there. And we're there, and he was sharing with the audience in between commercial breaks his entire story, how he lived in the car, and just how God brought him through devastation to where he is now. And it just so inspired me. And when I went to the Act Like a Success conference, I told my husband, I'm like, I feel like I'm home. These are my peeps. I'm like, these, I felt like it was very like-minded. And so I love that he created this whole Act Like a Success community. And if you're out there, it's pretty easy to join. Where can they join?
They can join our Facebook group. It's a great place to get connected and get started. It's facebook.com, and under groups is Act Like a Success. We're about 50,000 plus strong. And it is a group of success-minded people who are there to learn from each other, network with each other, celebrate with each other. We do Facebook Lives in there where we're teaching things and getting you on point to not just see what your goals are, but to go out there and make it happen. And so if you're saying, man, I don't know where a community is where people understand me because I have these big goals, then I definitely recommend the Act Like a Success group on Facebook.
Yeah. And I mean, I've learned so much just from doing the group. And then Steve had these lessons that were on video. I love how he talks about finding your gift. Can you talk to the audience about how they can find their gift and how to know what that is?
Right. So we all have a gift. We don't, people didn't get skipped over. So just because you're here because you have something to contribute. And how you contribute is up to you after you discover your gift. And so Steve defines your gift as what you do best with the least amount of effort. And so for some of us, that could be the way we communicate better, we teach better, we speak better, effortlessly. For others of us, maybe it's a gift around cooking or baking, or, you know, whether you have an eye to be creative, you know, you can decorate and, you know, what those things are. And so many times we miss our gift because it comes so easy to us, we
don't even recognize it.
Right, because we think it's easy to everybody. And so we have to take a step back and maybe even ask a few people, you know, what do you think I do with such ease, but really, really well? And once you discover that gift, now you get to choose how you share that gift. And it doesn't mean you have to have a business around that gift, which I think is a mistake that people make, because your gift, you get to choose how you use that. Some people use their gift by starting a business. Other people use their gift, they volunteer, they go help, they work with children, they work with the elderly. Some people use their gift inside of their corporate career. If they're great writers, or if they're great communicators, if they're great marketers or very creative, they may use their gift in the corporate world. And some people may use their gift just for their family, to raise great children that will be contributing positively to society. And so I think the first piece is to discover the gift. And then the second piece, you get to choose how you want to share that gift with the world.
Wow, I love that. And that just kind of leads into, you find your gift and then you have a good idea. How do you know the difference? I know Tim Story talked a lot about having a good idea or having a God idea. And I definitely like the supernatural God idea. How do we know when we're just having a good idea or it's a God idea?
You know, it's funny because I do connect with and talk to and work with a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of creatives. And man, oh man, do they always have a good idea. There are a ton of things that we could all probably do. And there are a ton of things that we're probably good at. But the question becomes, what could you be great at?
Ooh, I love that.
The good ideas are just that. I could do it. It would be good. It'd be awesome. But if I decided to be great, if I decided to listen to God, the universe, and say, what is it that you would have me contribute? Then that God idea will begin to emerge out of those good ideas. Good ideas can be distractions. Good ideas can be delays. Good ideas can be procrastination. And I always tell people to focus. What would be that great thing that you could do to make the biggest impact in the way that you want to contribute to this world? And that's when those God ideas begin to emerge.
Now, your gifts light you up, don't you think, when you're acting in your gift and when you're acting in the God idea, you're more lit up inside, like you're excited and you're just alive and electric.
Yes, you wake up with energy, you're excited, you have a sense of joy, you have a sense of peace. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. You know, I don't want people to confuse being excited and being passionate and waking up with enthusiasm means that how you choose to use your gift will go effortlessly and easy. Because it doesn't always work that way. But what does work is that it continues to refuel you. It continues to re-energize you. And when you feel like things aren't going your way, when you feel like, am I moving in the right direction, tapping back into that gift and the vision that you have for that gift keeps you moving forward.
And that's why it's so important to have a strong why you're doing what you're doing, right? Having a purpose-driven life.
Yes, having a bigger reason that supersedes the goals. And so I always tell people, your goals is what gets you to your why. And so if you don't understand why you have these goals, why you're reaching for these benchmarks, why you're trying to accomplish these milestones, there's a bigger why at play. And to be able to discover that also keeps you moving, even when the direction that you may be headed is not the right direction. So you might have to change your goals, but it doesn't change your why. It doesn't change your intentions.
Well, I know sometimes our good ideas, we have great ideas and we're living them out, but then there's an intervention of some sort. And I know you had a near-death scare that changed your life. Can you tell the audience about that and share your whole experience and what you brought out of it?
Yeah, so I was traveling in August of 2013. I was heading out to an event that I was a participant in, and I was also going to be speaking. And I live on the East Coast, so I flew out to the West Coast at the time, and woke up that morning with a little bit of a chest pain. And for anybody who has either felt that or known someone who felt that, the first thing that comes to your mind is, which arm is supposed to be tingling, if you are having a heart attack. And so neither one of my arms were tingling. So I self-diagnosed myself that I wasn't having and then decided to do, I think, what a lot of people do when they experience some physical symptoms. I went to google.com and I started Googling, chest pain and chest muscle and pulled muscle. And I was in this research phase, this self-diagnosis phase for a couple of hours. And then I realized that this wasn't going away and I needed to get to the hospital. And so once I got to the emergency room, when they hear chest pain, you kind of go to the front of the line. They gave me the EKG and they confirmed that I wasn't having a heart attack, but we had to figure this out. And so changed into the gown, putting the IV in. I probably was back in the emergency bed area for maybe 10 or 15 minutes when I started to feel really nauseous. And I called the nurse over and said, I feel like I want to throw up. And she said, wow, okay, let me give you a little pan. And a few minutes later, I called the nurse back over and said, I'm really feeling warm. I'm just nauseous and warm. Oh. And so he starts looking past me, because if you've ever been in a hospital, I'm facing the nurse, they're facing me, and the machines, the monitors are behind me. So he's looking past me at the monitors and he calls out to another nurse and asks for the EKG machine again. And the nurse says, I'll bring it right over. And my nurse said, stat. And so if you've ever watched TV medical dramas or hospital shows, you know that stat means like immediate, right away, stop what you're doing. And within the next, 2 minutes, I say, all hell broke loose. And so they had EKG machines coming over, sonogram machines coming over. They bought over a defibrillator. Several doctors came in, more nurses came in. And I'm just getting warmer and warmer and warmer. I feel like I'm baking from the inside out. And one of the doctors comes over to me and he says, if your heart stops beating, do you want us to revive you? And I was like, yes. And he said, if you stop breathing, do you want us to incubate you? And I was like, yes. And all I could think was, I'm on the other side of the country. My family's on the East Coast. My husband was actually traveling. He was in Nairobi at the time. And I felt like if I closed my eyes, I was not going to wake up. And it was just one of those moments where I was thinking, oh my gosh, this could be it. And finally, after the defibrillator was hooked up, the sonograms were hooked up, the nurse, was saying, can I give it to her? And finally they injected me with, I don't know what it was. I used to know the name of the drug, but it was like ice running through my veins.
Oh my gosh.
It was like 15 seconds of complete silence. Everybody was basically holding their breath, not looking at me, looking at the monitors. And finally, my heart rate started coming up, my temperature started coming down, and the doctor came over and was like, okay, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be fine. And so out of that experience, people say, did your life flash before you? What were you thinking about? And I was thinking, one, I don't want to die alone. That was one of the things that I was thinking. But I was also thinking, I didn't have any regrets. You know, I had made my jump years ago. I have faced fear. I've won some things. I've lost some things. I've had this life of risk and this life of taking a chance. And so, you know, we think about things that happen in Las Vegas at that concert.
Oh my goodness.
Things that happen in New York with
yesterday.
And the truth is, we are in a world where some things we just do not have control over. And so how can you position yourself in your life that if those things happen, you can live with no regrets. You can feel good about where you are right now, that you took that risk, that you took that chance. Doesn't matter whether you won or lost, but you went out there and you gave it your best shot. And that's what I would recommend to anybody, whatever that shot looks like for you. For some of you, it could be making a commitment in a relationship you haven't been able to make a commitment to. For others of you, it could be starting a business. For some of you, it could be going for a promotion, getting that degree. What is that jump? What is that risk that you know will be the thing that says, hey, I went out there, I did it, I gave it my best?
Wow. So that's a great question. What is that risk? Mm-hmm. So that you would know what for you, what is your biggest dream? What would you like to accomplish that you haven't already?
You know, I've accomplished quite a bit that I'm really happy about. But what happens is when you accomplish some things, then you want some new things, as you know. So when I look to the future, number one, I want to have more people impacted by my radical method. And as a coach for entrepreneurs, one of the things I found is that many entrepreneurs do not lack a how-to. They have taken a class on how to market. They have taken a class on how to build a funnel. They have taken a class on how to do sales, and yet they're not doing it. And so there is something on the inside of them that is not wired in a way that gives them the confidence to go out there and make it happen. And I didn't phrase it this way before because I hadn't observed so many people having this issue before. And so being able to say, you need to learn more about who you are and why you are to really make the changes that you want to see in your life. So part of my accomplishments is to get this message out to a much larger platform so that people can go out and accomplish what they want. Fun things. I love to travel. I want to continue to travel. I am trying to convince my husband that we should sell our house. And, you know, I have a place in Burbank now, and we have a place in Nairobi when he goes there. But why do we have to have a home base? Like, I would love to just, you know, Airbnb it for a couple of years and see.
Fun.
You know, experience different environments, different cultures. When it's cold, I can be warm. When it's warm, I can be cold. You know, whatever that looks like.
Make sure you get a good place when you do the Airbnb.
Yeah, of course. But I would encourage people to see, what does a designed life look like for you? You know, many of us grew up with, you get a job, you buy a house, you have the kids, and you retire. And for a fraction of the people, that is exactly what they want. But for many people, that's just been what they've been sold. And so they need to allow themselves to dream. What would I really, really love? You know, maybe you want to live on a ranch with some cattle and some chickens and, you know, sip some lemonade. Maybe you want to live in a condo in a high rise in an urban area and walk everywhere. I think we need to allow ourselves to dream about a lifestyle that doesn't necessarily fit into the lifestyle we've been sold here in America.
And having great health, mm-hmm. You've got to have that to be able to live out your dreams. I know you have recommitted yourself to working out. What does that look like for you?
So I just mentioned that I have a place in Burbank, and so I'm spending a lot more time out in LA. And I found this boot camp like a few blocks from my place that I absolutely love. I cannot do half the stuff they are asking us to do, but you know, you got to start somewhere. You know, you got to start somewhere. And so I am loving this boot camp with the weights and the resistance and the cardio, and really committed to those 4 to 5 times a week of moving my body, and then being mindful of what I put in my body. And so, you know, recommitting to healthier eating habits, healthier foods, better portions, and knowing that in order to do the work that we were all created to do, we need to take care of the body that goes out there and does it with us.
Well, I would love to lead you through a Sisterhood of Sweat workout live on the Steve Harvey Show.
I'm going to do that.
You don't want to be live doing a workout in front of people. I mean, that's what I do. Boot camp.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I love it. It's all about sisterhood. I do the Sisterhood of Sweat, and strong women empowering, achieving together, and we bond. I mean, like, people in the boot camp are like lifelong friends. Yes. So, I mean, it's
community, you know, being in a place where you feel supported, where you feel that people are understanding what you're working towards and can be happy in your success. And many of us need to make sure that we do entrench ourselves in a community that not just supports us, not just holds us accountable, but really, truly, and authentically celebrate the wins and celebrate the success. And I know that's what the Sisterhood of Sweat is all about as well.
Yeah. And what does sisterhood mean to you?
It really means those 3 things. It means a group of people, sisters, that number one, support each other. And support to me means you're living in a no judgment zone. And so it's not about trying to tell you what to do or always give you advice. It's first and foremost about supporting you where you are. And then I think it's about helping you be accountable to your greatness. You know, people have seen in me what I couldn't see in myself at times. And I think that's something that should be passed on, that you should be able to bring out the best in others and help them feel confident that they can use that and go out and do something great. And then finally, I think it is about the celebration. The truth of the matter is some people just can't be happy for other people. Some people can't celebrate with other people. And so when you talk about a sisterhood, it really is about being able to, in pure joy, be happy for the good things that happen to other people. And that's how I see sisterhood.
Oh, I love your answer. That was great. And you just put it out there for me. That is why I developed the Sisterhood of Sweat in the first place. And, you know, so we could collaborate with one another, not compete against each other, not try to tear each other down, but build each other up. And that we all have gifts to bring to the table. Like you said, we weren't skipped. Nice. And, you know, I think not to live in that comparison, but to realize that we all have gifts.
Right.
Yeah. I love that. Well, I have so enjoyed having you today. Where can people reach you? Where can they get a hold of more of Doreen Rainey?
They can check me out at doreenrainey.com. And you can sign up for some of our free sessions that we do, free info on getting radical. And I'd also love to connect with people on social, on all channels. I am Doreen Rainey. So you can connect with me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm always sharing tips, letting you know what I'm up to, and then wanting to hear, of course, from you guys, what you guys are up to.
And last but not least, I always like to ask this question. What are 3 simple truths that you could leave with the audience today? And they could be funny, they can be serious, whatever.
3 simple truths. Number 1, you have the ability to change your situation.
Ooh.
Period. If you don't like something, you have the ability to change it. That's simple truth number 1. Simple truth number 2, no one promised it would be easy. No one gets a pass. I know sometimes we look to our left and look to our right and we get in the comparison game and we think somehow they've had it easier. And the truth is they may not have the same challenges, but no one gets a pass from difficulty. So truth number 2, it's not going to be easy. Truth number 3, it will absolutely be worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Taking the risk, taking the jump, being true to yourself, standing for what you believe in will give you more joy and fulfillment than you ever thought possible. So it's absolutely worth it.
Wow. I have just, again, thank you so much for coming on the Sisterhood of Sweat today. And you guys, if you've enjoyed listening to Doreen, please check her out and review it in iTunes so we can have more great guests on the show, and share it with your friends. If this made an impact on you, we want to know. And let us know what you liked about it and what really were the triggers for you today.
Yeah, I would love to hear your feedback. Definitely leave comments, ask questions. I know Linda and I love to support you as you move on your journey to your next level of success.
Thanks for listening, everybody. This concludes today's episode of the Sisterhood of Sweat.